What would it take for you to live the life that you want? $1,000,000? That's not an answer. When people get asked what they would need to be able to live the life that they want, we immediately turn to money. Hi, I'm Bonita and I am early retired. I'm not old enough yet for Social Security. I'm living on a low income and I am living off of savings. And right now I'm spending the winter in my RV in the Rio Grande Valley in South Texas. I normally live in Kansas. I have frugal videos all year round, and I hope that you will join me this year in 2025 as we share ways to save money and live our dreams. So, what would it take for you to live the life of your dreams? Grab a piece of paper and write down how you envision your life, what you want it to look like. And money is a big part of that. But when people just throw out a number like, I need $1,000,000, that really doesn't tell you a thing. You have to make a nitty gritty plan. And today we're going to talk a little bit about what that plan should entail. And I'm going to share with you some of the ways that I make the life of my dreams come true. I hope you'll stick around for this video. So if you're new to the channel, I'm Bonita. I'm early retired. I have retired a little over a year ago. I don't have a 9 to 5. I've just in the last couple of years been monetized on YouTube, but it's still a small amount, not enough to really make plans or count on, right? So I had to make a nitty gritty plan of what I wanted my life to look like. I knew I was burned out. I knew I was tired of working. I was having trouble getting out of bed. I didn't want to go to work. I was having trouble staying focused at work because I was just so burned out. And I decided that I really needed a break, that I was ready to retire, that this must be what it felt like when you were just done. And I was just done. And so I sat down in that last year and a half. I was like, I need to make a detailed plan on how I can make it if I turn in my notice because I just can't do this until retirement age. I just can't. So I sat down and I thought, what would it take me to live? And I started tracking all of my expenses and I started looking at places that I could cut back or places I could substitute or places I could change up the way I was doing things so that I didn't need as much money as that $1,000,000 that everybody throws out there. I'd always dreamed of wintering in a warmer climate, and that is something that I've always wanted to do. Now, I can camp, I can live in an RV. Those things don't bother me. In fact, I enjoy them, and I'm in my RV right now. This is my second year in Texas for the winter. And I knew that I hated winter. I knew that it caused me a lot of pain in my joints, in my back, and I just could not face any more winters in Kansas. So I started looking, what would that take? What would that look like? Could I do it? And I started putting it down on paper and tracking every single thing and realizing that I could stick an entire check back every single month and I could start padding the savings I already had to be able to quit and then make that stretch for 4 years until my Social Security started. And that's what I have been doing. Now, the way that I live down here is very simple. I am a simple person. I enjoy simple living. I live on a farm in Kansas. I am used to not having all of the bells and whistles that maybe are more modern or more uh, normal for a lot of people. But for me, I can get by with a lot less than a lot of people just because I am motivated to not have to go back to work and to make my money stretch until it's time for me to draw Social Security. So I brought the stuff down here with me to do my own taxes. I've never paid anyone to do my taxes. Someone told me they paid over $400 to have their taxes done. And I was like, oh my goodness, is that what it costs? Because I've never paid for that. I do a lot of things myself, even things that not everyone might even consider doing themselves, and taxes is one of them. My dad was a high school dropout. He quit school his sophomore year to farm, and he always did his own taxes. Now, that means that a lot of us that sit back and are scared to do our taxes, if you can read, you can do your taxes. There are instructions for all of it, and you can just read slow. You can look at other areas that tell you how to do it. There are YouTube videos that explain how to do different parts of it. Even when we had a business, I still did the business taxes. I did the payroll taxes. I did the quarterly unemployment taxes. I did all of that. And that has saved us so much money. I also started looking at my household goods, my office supplies, um, I started looking at everything in my house and I started picking things up on sale and back stocking things so that I knew I had a good, solid ground going into giving my notice. I knew I had food. I knew I had stock. I knew I could get along for a while and not have to worry about trying to buy things. And that gave me the confidence I needed to move forward. But I made a detailed plan. And I think that's the part that a lot of people overlook or just think it's too hard. And if we don't do a detailed plan, we really don't know how much money we need or if we can do it. And a lot of times we just keep working because we think we're supposed to. And we just keep working until a certain age because that's what we're supposed to do. And I started looking at this going, I can make it. I can make it. I know I can. So I started taking on frugal hobbies like sewing and reading and getting out there and walking and exercising and learning to preserve more foods, making sure I didn't waste anything in the house, making sure things went in the freezer if I thought they were close to going bad, or figuring out a way to use them up. I started doing little things and adding them to my daily tasks, and I just became more and more confident that I didn't need as much money as what everybody says that you do. Even coming down here, I have been living small. And living small doesn't mean you go without. It just means that you think more carefully about the things that you purchase, that you make sure that you have the things that you need, and that you are creative with the things that you do have. I have a very small refrigerator back here. It runs off of the RV battery or it runs off of electric. I have a propane oven and a propane stove. Um, it's a small area to clean, so I don't need that much. And living here the last couple of years has shown me how much I really don't need that I had in my house. Living in my RV showed me that we have too much stuff in our house. I have a small kitchen. I have a small set of utensils. I have a small amount of clothes. I have some food stocked, but it's plenty. And when I sat down and wrote down how many things I could make out of the food that I brought with me, I came up with like 30 and 40 different meals. Were they all fancy? No, but they definitely could fill me up until I got to the next meal, and they were pennies on the dollar for what we think that we need. I brought my little Amazon Fire tablet that my kids got for me for Christmas. They went together and bought it for me several years ago. I downloaded my free TV apps and I use that as my television. I have Wi Fi, I have electric, Everything else is covered down here besides the lot rent. It's $1,400 every 3 months. And so it really didn't take that much for me to save up and to live the dream and the life that I wanted. But if I would have been sitting there in my office several years ago thinking I need $1 million, I'll never be able to do that unless I have a ton of money in the bank, I might not have ever stuck my toe in the water and tried to do it. I would have psyched myself out before I ever sat down and actually looked at what it was costing me to live and what I needed to make ends meet. If you just listen to everyone, they will scare you into thinking that you need tons of money. And maybe you do with your lifestyle, but maybe you don't. And maybe you can change your lifestyle or change little things that you're doing to cut back on your costs so that you can live the life you want. And that's what we talk about on this channel is frugal living and how to take shortcuts and use tips and tricks, coupons and rebates, smart cooking, no waste to save money so that we can live the life of our dreams. Living in the RV has been a great experience for me. It helped me to realize how much I can actually live without because I don't have that much space, but yet I have everything I need. And everything at home is just a lot of extra stuff that we rarely use or we are just storing for maybe using once a year or once every 2 or 3 years in the kitchen. We don't need as much as we think we do. And so I realized how much I really didn't need. I was stocking too much food. We have too many clothes. We have too many pots and pans. We have too much of a lot of things because most of us will take the house we have and we will fill all the spots that there are. But do we really need all that? And do we always even remember that we have that stuff or where it is? And so when I decided to cut back and to stop living where I had to work and purchase things all the time, I realized I really didn't need to be working and purchasing things all the time, that I had more than enough to stretch my dollar and cut back in areas so that I could live my dream. I realized how much I was overstocking, how much I was overbuying. And here I know I only have a certain amount of space, so I only buy what that space allows. But at home, we have a bigger space. So we buy more because the space allows. And a lot of times that takes a big part of our income. And then we realize when we start sitting down and looking at that nitty gritty plan that we really don't need all that stuff, but yet we keep buying it. And living where I can't run to the store all the time when I need something in Kansas, that helps me hugely, especially when I transitioned here to the city in my RV. I'm not used to running to the store all the time. I've gotten used to substituting or omitting things. I've gotten used to using other things that I have on hand instead and getting more creative. So when I'm here in my RV in the city, I still don't run to the store all the time. And a lot of people will run to the store a lot for different things because it's handy. But I got used to not using it, even though it's handy, because I can see how quickly that will burn up any income that I have during the month. And I want to have money left over at the end of the month. And I want to have money that I can do other things besides just buy food and household supplies. That was never my dream. So sit down and look at what do you really need? What do you already have? And do you need to be buying more stuff or can you be knocking out that mortgage, knocking out that car payment, knocking out that credit card debt so that you can sit down and see what it really takes you to live once you knock out all of the things that are just sucking away your paycheck? I get a lot of people asking me all the time, "How did you do it? How did you retire early? How do you make ends meet now?" So I hope that this video has given you some ideas of where you can start. Please give me a thumbs up. I hope to see you in the next video, and thanks for being here today.